What's up, Quakes fans? We're back with another episode of Tectonic Takes. I'm here with a very special guest for the, fourth, fifth time in the last, 2 months. Happy to have you back, Saz. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I missed one because my power PG&E cut off my power literally as soon as we started recording.
That
Um,
was so funny. I was like, okay, Saz, you could have just said you don't want to join today's
no,
episode.
I know it was rough. It was rough, and it was hot that day too. It was like a heat blast. And then yeah, I was studying the other day. I couldn't make that one.
Yeah, I do not envy you. I think Devin wasn't able to make it because he's also deep in his studies. Um, but yeah, it's not a problem when you don't go to school. So Um, but yeah, we had a very eventful week. Obviously, May is jam packed full of games. So first of all, we have to talk about the Miami game. Um, Says, what was the experience? We're not going to talk about the game yet, but the experience, like with how crowded everything was. How do you think the Quicks handled the experience on a fan point of view?
I think they handled it great. Did you mean sorry? Do you mean the staff or do you mean like the players?
I more mean the staff and how like because there was obviously a bunch of different differences with the game day, prep and the tent and stuff. Like the 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 match day experience for the fans.
Obviously they probably dropped the ball on a few things here and there, but I went into that game ready to be such a hater, and that is like one of the most fun games I've ever been to in my entire life. Also, shout out to Terry; she got me into this free event that had unlimited food and drink for an hour, and I took full advantage of that. So that definitely added to my experience of why I had such a good time. But it was so much fun, and it was like I actually got interviewed by some news station like right as I got out of my car. Dave just sent me over from the fall line, shout out the fall line, and they just asked me some questions. I'm like, I'm actually kind of frustrated because clearly we can fill all these seats up, but haven't done in other games. But yeah, no, it was really, 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 really fun.
I would tend to agree. Yeah, shout out to Terry. Shout out to Terry from Faultland. You don't hear her name on here very much, but she's very involved, of course. Um, no, yeah. When I got there around 5:20. Like I got onto Coleman around 5:20. I didn't get to park until about like 5:45 ish. Like it was the traffic. I mean, there's not much we can do about that. Like we obviously, when you're at capacity, the traffic is always going to be an issue. But this was the most problem I've had with traffic at PayPal Park probably ever. And I had to go interview Don Garber, and they were like, "Okay, be there at 5:45." And I get out of my car at 5:45, so I was like, "Oh my god!" And Don ended up being late, so that worked out in my favor. He just Don is very PR trained. He didn't give us anything special. I do have the video of that. We might post it on the channel, so look out for that. But no, getting into the stadium, even as media, with our back entrances and stuff, we still had to go across under the bridge. Oh my god, the bridge was just like a sea of humans. It was absolutely insane. Did you get to go to the bridge, Saz?
I went around. I saw it, and I knew damn well what Terry put it actually great. It reminded us before the bridge was made, and they would just like section off the like area of the fence and just get really crowded. Like we just took the long way every single time, and like no, it was crazy. There were the gates, the parking doesn't open until 4:30, and some days they're nice and let you in at 4. There was a line forming at like 1 to 2 p.m. And then by the time gates officially opened, which was 5:30, the line was like the main entrance one was going all the way past the Audi parking lot, which is like I'm assuming most people here have been to a game and realize how crazy that is. Like it never even leaves the like that little like earthquake sign. Like it doesn't even enter the press area rarely. Um, no, that was so insane. Then yeah, the bridge I avoided. I'm like I don't want to deal with this. I knew it was gonna be they tarped it off anyways. I brought a Barcelona jersey just on the point zero bajillion chance something happened, but in my heart of hearts, I knew if I even saw Messi on the field, it was going to be a good experience, let alone see something like we do in the other games.
Yeah, at the Garber interview, I met up with Justin Ruderman. Shout out to him. We'll probably have him on talk LAFC at some point. But he gave me a tour of the LAFC stadium, and so I had to show him to the press box in our stadium. We got inside of like, let's skip the tour. Let's just go straight to the press box because this place is crazy. And I didn't think to go around the long way. You know how where the press area is. I should have done that because we literally just it was just me like just moving people out the way like a bulldozer. It was crazy.
Yeah, I will say I usually hang out in the fault line section. I did the siren in the first half, and not most games, but like a good chunk of games I do the siren. And like, dude, as soon as the stadium went in, I look over at our section, which like usually isn't that full unless it's a really crowded. S- like sardines. Our entire section before the rest of the stadium was there because everyone knew that Messi was going to warm up on that side. I'm like, oh my god, how am I going to get in there? I had a couple drinks at that point, so like, my filter was gone, and I'm like, excuse me, and then like our little section was gated off, and I'm like, hey, I'm in here, like I can call one of them. He's like, sorry, no, you need. I'm like, no, I'm one of the people here, and the guy spoke only a little bit of English, so like as soon as I started like whipping out the Spanish, which I'm glad I got in. Caleb thankfully came over and let me in, but that was like sardines in there. That was insane.
It definitely was. So I'm very glad I got up to press box. Usually I'll go when I need to go to the bathroom. I'll go down the elevator because the one up here is like never available. I waited. I was like, this is not going to be worth it. I will. It will take me the same amount of time to go to the bathroom. I'll just wait up here, wait it out, and you know it was definitely worth it. But
I almost saw a fight in the bathroom.
oh my gosh, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I went, this was end of the game. No, yeah, it was either end of the game because I went to the bathroom twice. I went end of the game or way before the game. I think this one might be the end of the game. I walk in, I just hear like "f you," no "f you," and like I'm a little drunk at this point. So like I really am ready to like if I had already gone pee, I would have felt like I would have wanted to antagonize this. But I'm like, okay, wait, let me go pee first, and then I was just like, fuck you, f you, fat fuck, and then like the other guy's like, yeah, all right, whatever, man, and then they just both went opposite directions.
That's good that didn't end up in a fight. I mean, it was crazy packed and a lot of new people there that day, so definitely gonna be more violence and also a lot of alcohol involved. That's how it is. But let's get to the actual game that happened on the pitch. So Saz, we open up and we're learning that Messi is starting. We didn't really expect that. A lot of us were pessimistic about him, making it to the game, but he's starting. And then we don't really get to take it in because like 2 seconds after the first whistle, uh, the other team gets a goal. What was your thoughts on that?
I'm like, Jesus Christ, already? Oh my God. I believe that one was the cross to the header, right? Like right off the rip. I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, this isn't the way you want to go because I'm like, how is our team going to handle this? It wasn't a home game. I don't care what you say. It was not a home game. I would say it was like 60-40 blue to pink in that. Maybe I'm being a little exaggerating, but like everyone was there for Messi. Thankfully, we bounced back immediately in score, and then I feel like that really put us on the front foot for most of the ball. I don't know what the possession stats were, but I felt like after that and we got the equalizer, I felt like we had the ball most of the game. So like, as much as I want to say like, oh, I was feeling this, just as much as we weren't able to like soak in Messi being like starting, I wasn't able to soak in. Oh my God, we just conceded because we just went back and scored right away.
No, it was so fast the turnaround. I was expecting like, okay, there's sound of the earthquakes. We get scored on early. We usually don't come back from that. Just we lose focus. Whatever. It's fine. I guess seeing Messi was what we're gonna get out of this game tonight. Immediately after that thought, we score a goal, and that's just the difference between last year's San Jose Earthquakes and this year's. We have just a much better team. Unfortunately, though, uh, Chicho did end up getting injured later in the match, but yeah, the game overall, I would agree with you that like I feel bad because they go through so much effort. The people backstage at the San Jose Earthquakes in the press box, they give us all like our individual like piece of paper with all the stats that we could ask for, and those are usually just like coasters. We use those coasters for the sprite they give us, because I have no idea what any of the stats are. I'm glued onto the game, but I felt that we were punching with them, like punch for punch, like we were right there with them. It didn't seem one-sided, and in my opinion, I felt that we were better in a lot of ways. What do you think?
No, I mean, yeah, I'd agree. I think the Miami team is quite poor as soon as you take off the Barcelona guys. You've seen it in matches even this year still during their Open Cup runs or whatever. If the Barcelona guys aren't playing, you are like, is this a USL like seven squad, let alone like a USL or MLS squad? Um, yeah, I mean the first touch and everything you expect to see from the Barcelona guys, that was incredible. We can't take that away from them. The others, I think, are what continuously let them down, and the fact that Barcelona guys are like pushing 40. Um, but yeah, overall, I would fully agree. I also want to go back to a point you mentioned about Chicho going out. I want to look into the camera to everyone listening here. I've been called a madman for months now for saying we should not be starting Chicho and Joseph in every game together. They are both injury prone, and it is a long season, and our depth. And look, they are both injured. They are both injured now. I guess Joseph's kind of back. But I was called a madman and said it was a crazy idea that they shouldn't be starting, right? And now look. I was generous enough to say what happens. My first point was July, maybe August, and then I was nice enough to switch it to September, right? And now look, we're not even in June.
Hey, I didn't say anything.
Yeah. No, yeah.
But no, I mean it's. I think they're both 30 and up. I think Chicho 30 and Joseph is 32, 30. But he was always injury prone before that. He as soon as he turned like 29ish, he started to get a little bit more brittle. Thankfully, he's getting on the pitch again, and that's great. But uh, you know, we'll talk about Miami as much as we can. But I do need to talk about what is going on with Pellegrino. Why is he doing that? Why is he not putting the ball into the net? What do you think is wrong with him?
I think it's mental. I think it's. I need everyone to stay with me here. Clearly, class, like his ability to bring down the ball, his ability to get by people, and most importantly, to put himself in that position. I think we've had strikers in the past where we're like, when's the last time they even shot a goal? Say what you want about Pellegrino, and yeah, it's been bad. It's been bad. The miss has been bad. Like I've been trying to defend him for a while, but the last couple games have been bad. He will find a way to get in the position. I just think it's so mental at this point. He just needs to see a couple go in, like in a row, where the confidence is there. And I don't know if it's just like the league's a little bit faster than Norway. It also seems like he takes his time a little bit more. Um, but yeah, I think during the Open Cup game versus Sacramento, there was one I joked that it must have been an XG of 100, like 100%. Like if you were to like take a still frame, they're like, oh, 100% is going in. Like there's no possible way. Um, yeah.
Hey, you keep saying it's mental. What's mental is the amount of XG he gets racking up without getting the
Yeah.
G part of it.
Yeah,
It's absolutely ridiculous, and that's getting ahead of ourselves into the New England match. But you're right, he is getting into those spots. Like, and that's what's kind of frustrating about it. Like Andy Rios, we don't. I don't like to
Yeah.
talk about Andy
No,
Rios.
do I.
He wasn't.
Yeah.
He didn't get into the position. He didn't score the goals in the positions.
Yeah,
But he
yeah,
was
yeah.
just like somewhere else, picking daisies. It's just totally different. Pellegrino is better, and he does have quality. And he was like one of our top scorers last season. That's not saying a lot, but he can score goals. But he has a crazy block, and it's so infuriating to watch because, like, how are you going to get rid of the block when you've had the chances to score the goal to, hopefully get you past that mentally? Because it's how are you going to overcome the curse that you have of not being able to score goals when the only cure is to score goals? Like, that's why it's such a hard thing. That's why being a striker is really difficult.
I said they need to bring in a sports psychologist. Like, I think it might have gone to that point, and like, I don't think it would hurt to have a couple for some of the others. Kind of going back to like a point you said about like us and like how the play was. This is a point I actually want to bring up on the episode where I had the PG&E outage. The difference between the Columbus game to now, because we're undefeated in 5 now, because we didn't lose at Columbus, and then whatever that may be. The biggest difference, and what I said, the difference between Columbus and us, and I feel like we have made a serious effort. We didn't see it as much in the last 2 games, but the other games where we were scoring a lot, the passes have a name on them now. We have gone more to direct passing. Now, the DeJuan Jones goal he had the previous game, I think that was a messed up pass, but he made a really good run and just happened to accidentally get there. But with that being said,
Can't
the
give
passes
Clark
are
to the credit.
yeah. No, I can't. It's not even that it's him. I just like watching the play. I refuse to believe it. But I that as well. We have had names on passes. We've been much more direct. We've been driving at people. I mean, we've been looking more like Columbus. I don't want to say fully, especially because our defense hasn't fully been there. But just in that regard, compared to that game, because that's when I was last on here, and I think that's been a big difference and a big plus for us.
No, and I would fully agree with that. It's not just like playing with the vibes of good intentions. It's more of like, I'm gonna go forward. You're forward. Here's the ball. You do something. Now I'm gonna run. Get it. It's like intentional, and it's like, yeah, with a purpose. And I think Bruce has really instilled. I don't know. I can't speak on the tactics, but they look way better. So I'm assuming he's got to have been doing something. So yeah, the Bruce Arena has, in my opinion, changed a lot about the composition of the San Jose Earthquake so far. Um,
Uh, I was gonna say more so for myself. I think we're just getting more confident, and we're playing well together, and we had a good string of things. I think earlier in the season we had a couple unlucky things that kind of got us down. One thing I want to bring up, and it was something I wasn't really agreeing about. A lot of people were saying we need to bring in a new goalkeeper. And okay, first of all, I thought we need to bring a new backup. I was in that camp. I was going to say, but a lot of people were saying like maybe even sell Daniel and bring in a new like first team keeper, whatever. Injured again. I mean, it's like, as someone who's injury prone, I really feel for him. I fully get it. It's like you do everything right. You train, you eat right, you exercise, but your body just says no, right? So I can fully feel for him there. But he plays like a third of the season, and he's like, I think, top 5 or 6 most paid players. And when he's playing, give him millions. I don't care how much you're paying him. When he is playing, I don't care how much you're paying him. It's not enough. The question is when he is playing, right? And that's what's so frustrating.
Yeah, it is extremely frustrating. I mean, it might have been Bogert who put up the stat of best performing keepers as opposed to their XG, and Daniel's in the top 3, and Earl Edwards Jr. is in the bottom 3. So we have both of them in our in our squad. I mean, wouldn't this be a great time to have our boy JT? Like a number 2 keeper who has the quality of a number 1, who is at a terrible team right now. He's having a terrible time. I know that he obviously had his injury issues, but Daniel's he's really spotty with how much he's actually able to get on the field. So that's obviously very disappointing.
Yeah, and I mean, even to be fair to JT, his injury issues is he got tackled and broke his leg. That's like in his like 5, however many years he was here, that was the only injury I can think of. And the reason I know that is because Matt Persona was the backup when JT was here. And even though he's retired now, I was a firm believer Matt Persona was a MLS starting level keeper. We saw in the Open Cup game how great he was for us. So it's just funny that we've gone from, I mean, was Stuver here? I forget. There was an Austin keeper that was here with us before. Andrew Tarbell. He was okay, right? Like it seems like we've had this pipeline of like good. Actually, Vega. I'm take Vega out of that and drop it. That is the worst keeper I think we have had here, including Edwards' performances. But other than that, it seems like we had like a keeper. Like, so to have Daniel be out and now be like, oh, our keeper situation, that is new territory to us because it always feels like we got a keeper and we got a striker that's putting it in the back of the net. Everything else will kind of, eh.
Yeah, it's a very delicate balance that we have to toe there. But back to the Miami game. Uh, Bo LaRue ended up getting the second goal of the match with an absolute banger, in my opinion. I thought that the build up play was okay, it kind of got interrupted, but it ended up just popping up in the right spot for him. That the D area, I've asked him before, it's his spot. A lot of players have a spot they like to shoot from. That's his area, and thankfully, that's where he found himself. And that shot was so hard. He put so much power on it while keeping it so low that the keeper's hand just totally just contorted, and got blown out of the way. What was because that section that goal was like right in front of you guys. What do you think?
Oh yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, like from our perspective, I didn't think not. It's not that I didn't think it was going in. It was just there were so many people in front of us, and the keeper was there that when I saw him in the net, I was like, oh my god, no way. The Harksey goal for me was actually crazier. Like that one was like the one in front of me while I was like watching, and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Yeah, no, it was we got a good game. That was a fun game for the neutral. It was a fun game for the Miami fans. It was the fun game. I thought the Messi free kick went in from my point of view, like because it was on the other side of the stadium. It looked like it went in. Um, the Earthquakes fans got a good point. It was a good point. Like I don't necessarily think we outright deserved the win. You could say that we could have gone for it and we could have got it, but I think at 1 point for the occasion I was fine with that. Um, yeah, the Miami game was great. I think the Rev game, which like I think both teams were like as they were getting ready to pass, were like, which are you with? Are you and me? My are we? Which who are we passing to here? Um, that game was. I don't want to call it a snooze fest in comparison, because I think there were moments where it was pressing, but you're definitely coming off a high and then going to a 0-0 game. And not even just the fact it was a 0-0 game, it just wasn't the prettiest game. I felt like it was a little sloppier on both ends, especially in the final third for both teams. Um, that's my take on it. What about yourself?
No, I mean, I 100% agree. You see a lot of people in the Discord saying that the Miami game was 100% worth the price because they got to see the best player to ever do it live. That's one aspect of it, but the other aspect was an incredible back-to-back, just six-goal thriller. Sorry about the plane. And it was a great game for a lot of people to be introduced to the Earthquakes. Uh, and I see that as a positive because a lot of people expected us to lose that match once they saw Messi starting. And then you go to the New England game, which obviously was heavily rotated. You have to, talk about that. And we had the better chances, in my opinion. Again, Pellegrino really should have put that one away. But no, I mean, 0-0 away from home with in that short of a turnaround, with Chicho getting hurt, with Rodriguez getting hurt, and to have a pretty solid lineup. Like I wouldn't say that this is like, uh, I don't think any team would want this lineup, but as their like almost completely backup lineup, like B team, C team for some players like Fernandez, it really wasn't bad. What are your thoughts on the rotation?
This tells me that New England's really bad. That there's a high priority going into the Open Cup game. And Bruce found it a time to like rest up some of the guys. I mean, this is Christian Espinosa's first game not playing in what 115
22.
games. 100, yeah, yeah, it was something crazy, and that was for personal reasons. I believe his son had an event going on, and he just figured it'd be good rest time. We don't know the full story, but injuries, yeah, as well. The lineup was rough. I gotta be honest. Like we played like a backup team as well. And I think it's more of a telltale sign of how rough New England's having because that was their starting 11. Like I know a lot of people are saying, but Tanner Beeson was starting and Jackson Ewell wasn't. So that's like game 3. That's kind of what it's been. Jackson got dropped and hasn't been seeing many minutes, and Tanner's actually, from what I've heard, has been decent for them and pretty good. I mean, we even saw the game. He made a couple tackles here and there. I mean, I was actually a Tanner Beeson fan. His first season or two here, I thought he was really, really good. Changed up a little bit, but I digress. I think to get a 0-0 with that is really fine. And for everyone online saying the tactics, Bruce Arena, this, that, the other, I literally just think the other team was that bad. I think the play was that bad. I personally didn't see anything where I was like, wow, the way this player's doing this or this doing that. I just saw like a mid off, and we just kind of like pushed on. That's my personal take on it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the players would like to hear that they did a mid off, but no, I mean, you gave Fernandez his first game in a San Jose Earthquake shirt in general over Bo LaRue, which you probably want to rest Bo LaRue. He's been one of our best players in the season so far. I thought Mark Anthony Kay, maybe not the best performance for on the attacking end for someone who should be like a decent MLS, caliber midfielder. I don't think anyone did that poorly. Being nice there. I think obviously Pellegrino is very frustrating, but you have Judd, who is another one who should be putting in chances. But I like what he does. Everything other than score goals. I don't know what your take on Judd says, but he does everything but score goals, and that's it. It does help. Like it is positive.
I'd agree. I like his effort. I like his intensity. I think he brings a pressure and a physicalness to the game. It is kind of important for a striker to finish, and much like Pellegrino, he does actually get into some decent spots. Um, the finishing isn't phenomenal. I wouldn't even say it's very great. Uh, I just remember something that for me personally in this game, but I do like to finish your point off. I do like Judd's play. What was crazy to me for all this rotation we had, I like that we also left a lot of guys at home so they wouldn't have to travel. And I'm biased here. I'll fully admit I'm biased here. The fact he brings Jack Skane all the way to New England, and then he's not even in the 18. And I'm looking at the roster here on some of the okay, sure, maybe you don't want to start him. You want to get some of these guys back. Hernan probably needs a couple minutes. Of course, have a backup keeper. Benji's coming back from injury. You want to see that. Romney have a defender. Dwan Jones a defender. LaRue, maybe someone. I could argue LaRue and Harks both didn't need to come. I feel like I could make an argument for that. You could have rested one of them and maybe give Skane some minutes. Because correct me if I'm wrong. I don't even know if they both came on.
I think Harks might have come on, but I don't think Lou did.
Yeah. So I kind of get having the point, but it's like, it's kind of like in every position we had one like starter and one like backup guy on the bench. You got Benji, the backup guy. You got, you could say Dwan Jones, the starter, because I think Benji's gonna play out wide. You got Romney as the main defender, and then you got Joseph as a starter, Buddha as a sub, and then you had Lopez, who's in the starter, but he's been injured, so he's coming back from injury. And then you have LaRue and Harks, who are usually our two starting center mids. I don't know why Jack couldn't have been brought in there, because he brings Mark Anthony Kay on most times, so that's some veteran leadership there. You had others running around, Keem obviously want to get Hernan a run, but I feel like Skane could have been a good look for him this game.
So
bring some intensity as well.
Skane wasn't even on the bench, is what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He wasn't even on the bench, but he was in. He flew out.
Yeah.
So to fly him all the way there, do the trainings, and then not bring. I think that's kind of crazy. And you could have left LaRue or Harks at home. Don't even have them travel. Let them get a couple days rest, because those two have been running a lot.
And you don't forget that Skane's a very versatile player. He could have played on the wing. He could play.
Yeah.
He could play there in the 8, like you were saying. Yeah, it's very interesting.
He has played every possible position in our current formation except for
Center back.
Goalkeeper and maybe center back. He might have even played center back one game for the Town or something. But he's played outside back. He's played center mid. He's played attacking mid. He's played striker. He's played winger.
Yeah. The word I got on Espinosa during the post-match press conference, which was very brief, was that the decision to leave Espinosa at home was Bruce's decision. It could have been swayed by the fact that the event with his son could have played a part in that decision being made, like him, not flying him out, just like Skane. But you know, he said that they made that decision with the Open Cup in mind, and so that would suggest that we're looking to start Espinosa tomorrow. Tomorrow's Tuesday, at the time of recording this, which that could be very helpful because we're coming up against an MLS opponent. Like we're not an easy street anymore. What are we looking at in the coming match?
I'm expecting a 85% starting lineup. I'm expecting obviously Earl's going to be Earl Edwards Jr. is going to be starting in goal. I would. It's hard to say our starting back line because we've been kind of changing it around, and it seems like it's kind of intermingled. I don't even know if I'm. I don't expect Rodriguez to be back. Um, I think the midfield is where it gets more interesting. Is this where we unleash Hernan for a full 90? Hernan, sorry. So that's so southern. Hernan. I think
Nine.
we're gonna put Hernan in for the whole 90. We put Hernan, and and then I don't know if he starts Pellegrino. I could see like a I think Buda gets the start. I think Espinosa gets the start. Chicho and Joseph are a little bit questioning. So I think it perfectly worked out for Bruce. Cause I don't know if he'd want to do a full like this is our best 11. Like I think he wants some rotation, and now it's kind of like okay, this is the best I can give you because we got a lot of injuries going on.
Yeah, the Open Cup is would be the best chance we have at silverware. We say that every year, obviously, but something that I think I could see Bruce wanting to go for. But with how congested May has been, it's not just been like games; it's been tough games as well. A lot of injuries to very, very, very key players. We're losing the top scorer in the league. Like that, you don't just come back from that super easily. So, but I did want to ask, Saz, you touched on the defense a little bit and how it's been like a rotation. I feel that we have a pretty good depth at the back. I feel that obviously it's hindered a little bit with the injury on Rodriguez, but I feel that like in his first year, for their first year, Max Floriani and Reed Roberts, I don't think they've looked. I mean, Max had a really off game against Columbus. He got really caught in some tough positions. So I'm not going to say like, oh, he did great, but he it was difficult. It was a difficult game for him. But so far, we've had a little bit of a bigger sample size, and I feel like he's, stepped up to the plate and shown what he's actually capable of. And Reed Roberts, I feel, has been, consistent the whole time. And Muni is just completely like, I knew he could do this because I've seen him, going up, but he's showing everyone like the things he could do, the pace, the physicality, and then the ability on the ball, just wonderful. What do you think, Says?
Yeah, Mooney for sure. I think another thing about Mooney that I like the most is anytime he's caught up or whatever it is, it is a full sprint back until he is in position again, and he has the pace to do it. Um, the kids have stepped up. The kids have stepped up when we've had some serious injuries. We got Wilson out constantly from some of the veterans. Um, I think Romney's been solid actually. I think he has had some bad mistakes in a couple games, and I think most notably Charlotte. And I think just like any of our defenders, he's prone to give something out here or there. Rodriguez has been inconsistent, both from being in the lineup healthy wise, and maybe getting some minutes. Wilson, we've seen all of 5 minutes without injury. The wing backs is a little bit more where we see the inconsistency, but the young kids have stepped up at the center backs, and they seem confident. They seem good. I would say the only thing we need is a veteran presence, and I think that's maybe something we don't have. I also think it's not as big of a drop off, like from like our striker like pairing of like really really like A plus tier to like could drop all the way to like C versus like the defense which could be like B or C tier, and it just kind of is as similar. But it's been very very impressive. I've really liked watching the young kids play.
No, I that's a very good way to put it. The drop off is like you'd prefer to have those starting guys in, but these guys have their own things that they can bring to the table, and I feel like they bring a lot. I felt Muni gave Messi the hardest time, and that was really nice to see. But no, that I'm happy to say that's not the area that I'm most worried about. Our defense because of the acquisitions that Bruce made in the offseason. He made full use of the MLS Super Draft, and that is very nice to see. But no, you're right in that the forward line is where we're lacking a bit. I think Buda is one of the stronger forwards we have right now. I think that Espinosa, if we can get Hernan back in, then that does improve the quality of the front line. Uh, but I'm not too sure. I haven't been able to ask about the, you know, where he's at. I know that his injury was a shoulder injury, so it's kind of strange. Like as opposed to like a hamstring injury, you wouldn't need that much time, or ACL or ankle injury. You wouldn't expect to be so slow. Like it's been like you expect it to like take a minute, but it's been like a while when we're like here 30 minutes here, like 30 minutes every game, like really really slow comeback. But I'd obviously rather have that than rushing him back. But I don't know too much about sports science, so maybe I'm completely off base. But it feels like it's been really slow.
My guess is Bruce doesn't really want to tamper with it. I think we've kind of found something that's been working a little bit. We're ranked one in offense, like in almost every single stat. I think the midfield's been a little bit more consistent these last couple games. Uh, and plus we have these other guys going down with injuries, so no need to rush it back. It could. I don't think we ever got an official word on what it was. It just was a shoulder surgery. Like I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like I don't know, whether it was a ligament tear, a rotator cuff, an impingement, whatever it may. Well, probably wouldn't get surgery for impingement, but it could be a contact thing. It could be a running thing. We also don't know how he got it, so we don't know what will re-injure it. There's a lot of like very key pieces to why, but my guess would be kind of like mitigate the injuries we have going down now. Um, I think this does bring up an interesting point because I still feel the biggest drop off from stars to bench is the forward line. But I still feel our biggest problem, I guess you could argue goalkeeper, between injuries and then just the performances we've gotten from Earl Edwards thus far. Maybe he'll prove us wrong on Tuesday. Um, um, I still think it's our defense. I still think the wing backs. I don't know if that's my favorite spot for Espinoza, but obviously it's been working stat wise. I think DeJuan Jones has been an upgrade. I like Ricketts, but he hasn't been in there as much. I think you could throw Jack Skane in there. I think Costa is a nice guy. That's about as much as I can say. But I think some of our highest paid players, other than the big names up top, are Daniel, are Bruno Wilson, are Rodriguez. And if they're playing a third of the games every season, those third games are great, phenomenal. Like, but that's 2/3 of the season you're missing. You think we could maybe get some better depth up top with that money, as well as maybe upgrading a more steady state defender? Because again, as we were saying, these young guys are proving it. I still think they get caught out and there's some inexperience, but if you can bring in a veteran leadership for it, I think that'd be something interesting to explore.
Yeah, I mean it's always a little bit easier said than done because you can't be like, okay, I guess you could look at the injury history. So we want players that aren't injured, like Wilson, like Rodriguez, like Daniel. It's a little bit hard to be like, okay, I'm gonna buy this guy because he's never gonna get injured, and he can go here, and we don't have to worry about that ever again. But no, I would agree that it could be spread out a little bit more evenly. Though I do really like watching Rodriguez do what he does, and obviously Daniel is very good when he's on, like you said. But Saz, with all that being said, what do you think we can expect result wise from the Portland game?
I can't expect anything from this team anymore. You have high hopes, they let you down. You have low hopes, they pull out a miracle. It is absolutely crazy what can happen. So I'm just hoping we come to play. It seemed Mark Anthony K had a good like absolute must win, but I've also heard the nice speech like that before. So I'm going into the game and we'll see if we can keep some intensity going. It seems like I don't want to say it dropped off necessarily after Miami, but it definitely wasn't as good as it was as even the game before Miami. So it'll be interesting to see where we're at. How are you viewing it?
I think Espinosa is probably the X factor here. Having him back is huge. I think should be in the MVP conversation. if the Quakes do make playoffs, obviously if we don't make playoffs, then that doesn't make sense. But I think that having him in the lineup is going to change a lot of things for us. And we did well against Portland, obviously with the caveat of missing out on some of the players that made that game so big for us. But I think that we can probably get a quicker result. I don't think that they gave us the hardest time. From their end, we're playing this one at home, so I'm pretty confident that we're the favorites in this one. I wouldn't say strong favorites, but no, if I was to bet, I would probably say that we should end up winning this one. Whether it's
It,
regular time, extra time, I can't say.
it'll be interesting because I think we always go into that game being the underdog before prior to this last game, and I think they just kind of didn't respect it too much, and I think we got momentum early. I think we put away chances early, and it really just caught them off guard, and they never had it. I'm on record not I think Phil Neville's a little overrated, um, and I think
Sir Alex Ferguson
it's
did too.
yeah. I think he's a little overrated, and I think they're gonna want a vengeance on this, though. I think they're gonna be a little more ready for us, and I think it really will come into that opening 20 minutes, and then seeing how it goes.
I think that's a great shout. And with that, do you have any closing thoughts, as?
No, I usually don't have many thoughts. It's just a monkey with a symbol up here. Just
Oh, good. So actually, when I first met you and I followed you on Instagram, your bio was the inner machinations of my mind or an enigma or something.
it's a SpongeBob quote.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't know it was a SpongeBob quote. I was like, all right, dude, like
yeah.
you're a cool guy, but I I
Yeah,
wouldn't
no,
say.
no, no. Yeah, on my Twitter, it's like the episode where like I think it's the Wumbo episode, and they're like, it goes like the inner workings of my mind are an enigma, and then it shows like just spilled milk going like over.
Yeah, when I finally heard the quote, I did think of you. I was like, that's where that's from. He doesn't just think he's God. He's just making SpongeBob quotes. Um, but yeah, with that, that's gonna be it for today's episode, Tectonic Takes. Saz, where can the people find you?
You can find me on here. That's that's where you can find me for now.
All right, we'll put all your your links and ads and whatever in the description for anyone interested. But yeah, with all that being said, go Quakes.